Let's discuss now all these developments with Hassan Barari, Professor of International Affairs at Qatar University here in Doha. Good to have you with us again, Hassan, on Al Jazeera. Let's start with this pressure coming from all sides on Israel to increase aid into Gaza for accountability of the killing of the World Central Kitchen staffers. We've had this letter from congressional Democrats who are calling for a suspension of aid, of military aid transfer to Israel. Also in the UK, growing calls for the suspension of arms sales to Israel. Do you think this pressure is genuine? And will these Western countries actually change their policy towards Israel if Israel doesn't change its conduct on the ground in Gaza?
Well, thanks, Fali. I think it is genuine pressure these days, and given what Israel has been doing. But at the same time, we have to remember that the international community has been complicit with all these Israeli massacres and genocide war against the Gazans. So by actually keep repeating the mantra that Israel has the right to self-defense, Israel has been killing everyone, including those workers. So, I mean, those workers actually are the victims of the kind of the international community complicit with Israeli policies. This is one point. Second one, there's a change in American scene these days. You know, when Nancy Pelosi signed this letter, she's not like left-leaning politicians in the Democratic Party, which means that probably the whole political party, the Democratic Party, is moving a little bit into adopting this position. So it has become a mainstream position. It's not only left-leaning groups in the party. So Mr. Biden needs to take this into account simply because he's going to election in a few months to come. And another development is the international community now is saying out loud that they don't trust whatever Netanyahu is going to do. So all these investigations, they prop into the accident, will not be taken seriously as lacking credibility and transparency. So they know that Netanyahu is not listening to anyone, particularly the American. You know, they tell him, you know, you need to do this and you need to do that. You need to take care of the humanitarian crisis, and he's just not listening. He continues doing.
What is it going to take, you think, to make him listen?
I think what they wrote in the letter is very important, that if they condition supplying Israel with weapons, munition, and with its behavior in the battleground, I think this is the only thing that would probably push Netanyahu to change course. Netanyahu understands only the cost-benefit and formula. So if he hears all people criticizing him and no one is placing a price tag in his policies, he will not change.
Yeah, we have also today the CIA director, William Burns, reportedly heading back to Cairo along with the heads of Mossad and Shin Bet, negotiators from Qatar, Egypt, to engage in another round of ceasefire talks. Do you see any movement on that front? With everything that's happened this week, do you think it'll put more pressure on both sides, not just the Israelis, but also Hamas? Because we've heard Biden say that Hamas also needs to agree to the terms of the ceasefire. Is there more urgency now for this to happen?
I think so. I think, I mean, the first impression, I would say same old, because every time they meet, they talk about, you know, changing position, but they continue business as usual, and then at the end of the day, they don't sign a deal. Now, there is an international pressure, in particular from the United States on both sides, as you said correctly. He asked the mediators, the Egyptians and the Qataris, to put a lot of pressure on Hamas. And he himself, he talked to Netanyahu and he said there should be a need for a ceasefire in order to allow for humanitarian aid. So the whole conflict now has become into a humanitarian crisis that everyone wants to solve. Yeah. Regardless of what Israel is talking about, its right to self-defense and the need to dismantle Hamas and the need to release the hostages. No one is talking about these things now. Everyone sees Gaza as on the brink of a real catastrophe.
Yeah, and everyone is also concerned about another front opening up, with fears that Iran will retaliate after the strike on its consulate in Damascus earlier this week. Fears in Israel itself, which has raised its alert level. The Iranians, until now, have managed to distance themselves from this conflict. How do you think they might respond? Because they have to respond, right? What will be the extent of the response?
Well, both sides have been into a kind of a war between wars. I mean, they're targeting each other. They're using proxies. I mean, the Iranians have been using the Houthi and Hezbollah in order to harass Israel and in order to annoy Israel. They've been doing this even before October 7th. I mean, with Hezbollah. The question here is that this is the first time that the Israelis attack directly an Iranian, I would say, diplomatic premises. And the Iranian leaders understand that they need to retaliate, because if they fail to do that, and this will pose a different question for them, they will have hard time to answer internally. I really can't predict what they're going to do, but if there should be an Iranian retaliation, maybe it takes the proxies to do something, but this will not satisfy the Iranian, the public. And I think at this time they will look for a target. Maybe they will target Israel inside Israel.
Okay. Hassan, always good to get your analysis on the situation in Gaza and elsewhere. Thank you very much. Hassan Barari, Professor of International Relations at Qatar University.